Hello and welcome to the first episode of the Friendly Neighborhood Technician podcast. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and mostly because there's a lot of information I would like to share, a lot of experience at the dealership, and also I wanted to kind of bridge the gap between technician and owner of vehicle, because I think that there's a big disconnect a lot of times between the owner of the vehicle and the technician who's trying to fix the vehicle and stuff like that. So I'd maybe kind of help give some information to the owner and kind of help give them a more realistic expectation of what to expect from vehicles and what to expect from the dealership experience and what to expect out of the technician, just in general. I don't think there's enough communication between technician and owner, and I think that if there were, then things might be smoother. The owner might know what to expect, stuff like that. So just one of the things that I wanted to do this for. Other things, I just, over the last while, I've been trying to think of different topics to talk about, stuff like that. What can I do to fill up time of just talking in a podcast, and probably have other technicians on, because their experience is not the same as my experience. Even the people working next to you might not have the same experience working on a vehicle or dealing with a vehicle, or an advisor experience, stuff like that. So, or even have service advisors on and have a back and forth. You never know. And then you get to kind of peel back the curtain a little bit, if you will, and see what actually goes on at a dealership from our point of view. I know there's some other podcasts out there that are really, really good podcasts, and some I like listening to, but I think a lot of those podcasts are more for technician to technician and not really technician to owner or technician to, getting the technician side of things when working on a vehicle. So that's kind of what I want to do with this, and the direction I want to go. Not everything is going to be technician to owner. So they're going to be, I'm sure I'm going to go off the beaten path and go off on rants, and there's probably going to seem like I'm going to be pissing and moaning a little bit. There's a lot of it. There probably will be some pissing and moaning in here, because there's a lot of stuff about doing this for a living is frustrating, and that's same for any job. So whether you're a mechanic, a technician, whether you're laying concrete, there's a lot of stuff that'll piss people off. So if I seem like I'm bitching, I probably am. And other than that, I have some good information to give you guys. So with that being said, this episode 1, what I want to do is kind of give you guys some information, or the owners specifically, some information on how to improve your experience with getting your vehicle serviced, getting your vehicle diagnosed, speeding up that process, so you don't have to wait an excessive amount of time or any longer than you should have to, because a lot of times there's stuff going on behind the scenes that you think that your vehicle is getting lagged on and it's getting put on the back burner, but a lot of times there could just be a miscommunication, a lack of information, stuff like that. So right now, that's what this episode is: bridging the gap between the technician and the owner of the vehicle when getting your vehicle serviced. So, number one, demand more from your service advisors. If you want your vehicle worked on and it fixed properly and everything, you just got to demand more of your service advisors. And what I mean by that is when you call, let's say you have an appointment, and you call your dealership, get an appointment. That appointment is set. That's usually not set. Well, sometimes it could be set by the service advisor, but a lot of times it's set by somebody else who will ask you, hey, why do you need an appointment? What's going on with your vehicle? I got a check engine light, or whatever the concern may be. And then they'll type that concern in and basically start up a almost not really a repair order, but they'll start that appointment. Okay, this is what it is. They'll pre-fill out some lines. And then so when you get down to the dealership, the service advisor sits you down and say, okay, insert pronoun so-and-so. Do you want, what you're here to get your car service? I see that your appointment's set. You have a check engine light, or you have a brake squeak, something along the lines. Then you say yes. And then at that point, when the advisor is writing up the repair order, they have they can change the line. So when you set that appointment, it's going to be a very basic line. So say, oh, I have a check engine light. And you get there, be like, yes, I have a check engine light, but check engine light's not on right now. It was on for a little while. Now it's off. Or it came on the way over here, then it turned off. Stuff like that, information like that. So the advisor has the ability to change those lines and what those lines say. So they can add information to it if they want, subtract information to it if they want. And that information is helpful to end up on the repair order, as opposed to just leaving it, customer states check engine light. That's cool. And the check engine light's not on. Fantastic. So we get there, it's, we're starting from, we can't really duplicate it because there's that. We can check for codes, but a lot of times there's no codes. So having the advisor add the information there, and then also looking over, once the repair order is printed, reading over the repair order, make sure the information is correct on that repair order. That helps also in getting your vehicle diagnosed as quickly as possible. And some of the other things next one I want to talk about is advisors not selling obvious services. So let's say you're in for, you came in, okay, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. or insert pronoun. You says you're here for you have a tire, or you had your tires done in another shop, and you still have a vibration when you're driving down the freeway, or driving at low speeds, stuff like that. So at that point, the advisor should sell a tire balance. It's obvious, it needs a tire balance. That's where we're going to check. That's what we need to check, especially if it's done at an outside dealership or an independent tire shop, Big O Tires, or wherever you get your tires done. We need to check the balance because we can't take anybody's word that the tire's balanced properly. We have to put it on our machine and balance it. So at that point, a lot of times what happens is the writer will put the estimate in for customer states tire balance, check and advise, or customer states a vibration, check and advise. So then we have to take our time and we have to put in that estimate, and we have to put in that estimate, send it to the advisor. Advisor has to send it to you. By that time, the advisor's got another customer, and either you're waiting or you're now you have to wait for a call. You've already left. You've got to wait for a call, and the customer. And then a lot of times the problem is just the balance was done incorrectly. So it's obvious things like that the writer should sell, and it will save a lot of time if they just, okay, hey, so the first thing we need to check your tire balance. And, that's a lot of times they don't do that, and that could save some time right there. And then also advisors not getting the correct labor for concern, such as vehicle, and especially vehicles that is not vehicle under warranty, because you're not getting labor if the vehicle is under warranty because it's under warranty. But different things take different labor. So if you have AC, for example, AC diagnosis is an hour and a half of labor at our dealership, because it's not diagnosis. It's diagnosis plus it's an evac and recharge, because we need to hook the machine up. We need to check your AC pressures, high and low side, and then we need to evacuate the refrigerant to see if it's low, if it's high, which can happen, and then stuff like that. And then they'll get an hour. Then we have to be like, no, it's an hour and a half, so we have to go back, recommend, hey, it's an hour and a half, and then so the writer's got to call you back, go find you, and it's a waste of time. Or old cars for us, if it's 90s and older, diagnosis is 2 hours as opposed to an hour, because we don't have anybody really that the people that are supposed to diagnose, that they were around when those vehicles were new and at the dealership and under warranty, they've all long since retired. So we don't. The factory trained technician for those vehicles are coming harder and harder to come by. So there's a lot more looking at paper manuals. There's a lot of times the work instructions are not in the computer anymore. So you have to actually dig through the paper manuals, dig through other places to try to find this information on your vehicle, looking up specifications, this, that, and the other thing. So again, we have to go back and be like, no, we need the second hour for the diagnosis on this. And again, more back and forth. That's not necessary if if that was getting handled the first time around. Or one thing that also is along those same lines is when you have a concern and your vehicle's also in for a service. So let's say you're in for an A service, B service, stuff like that. Your vehicle has a concern. Okay, there's a concern of I don't know. There's a let's see if I can think of it. Go check engine light. There's a check engine light, or this button or this switch in my car is not working, and then the writer won't get diagnosis time when there's a service. Well, a service doesn't include diagnosing anything. It's just servicing your car. Doesn't include a short test. Doesn't include checking for codes. So now we have to go in, put in an estimate for labor on that, do the service, send the estimate in, put your car outside, move on to the next car. When, again, could have been handled in the same trip to the stall, service, diagnosis in the same go, had the writer just done their job and said, hey, we're going to need an hour of diagnosis for that. Also, here's another one. Writers writing up a check engine light with a smog as a waiter, which happens. And if it has a check engine light, we can't really do a smog on it at that time, because if the check engine light's on, we have to do a check engine light diagnosis, figure out what's wrong with it, and then we have to get the monitors to reset, which can take a few drive cycles, one or two drive cycles, depending on how long the drive cycles are, maybe up to 100 miles or more, or 50 miles at least, 50, 100 miles to get those reset. We can't do that as a waiter, and but also the customer should be letting you know that if you have a check engine light and a smog, they should say, hey, we're going to need to drive that car, or they can reschedule the smog. Take care of the check engine light, get that fixed, put you back in your car, and once you're back in your car, you can drive it for a tank of gas, bring it back, set an appointment, we'll get your smog taken care of as a waiter, no problem, we'll get you with that knocked out. That's how usually it should go. Also, writing up unrealistic waiters. So it's a waste of your time, and if there's like 3-4 separate complaints that aren't related, I mean, check engine light, lack of power, that can be a waiter, or not that usually, depending on the car, can be a waiter, might not be, but that's usually those two concerns are related. If you have an A class or GLA, CLA, any of those, or even some GLEs, and it's a check engine light, lack of power, you probably need a cylinder head. It's not a waiter. But I wanted to stick around. Hey, is this going to be quick? Stuff like that. But in the end, that's not going to be a waiter. But they'll write up 3-4 complaints, and they'll get an hour for each one, and they'll write it up as a waiter. I mean, I understand if you have to stick around and wait for it, that's your only car. We can get you a loaner, stuff like that. But most cases, they should give you a realistic expectation or realistic time of, hey, this is going to take this amount of time. You probably don't want to stick around and wait for it. It's tea, that's not whiskey. Or waiters at 4:45. That happens before. Usually a waiter at 4:45 is preceded by a call. Hey, I need you to help me out. And we know what time it is and we know it's coming. But I understand if there's unavoidable circumstances that you kind of like you're stuck and you need your car, and you can't help the fact that your car broke down at that time. But usually a lot of times it's the writer again not saying, hey, we can't really, when there's the option, the writer's like, hey, we can't really handle that right now. We only got 15 minutes left. People are leaving in 15 minutes, and it's not really something we can handle right now. Or it's like a check engine light at 4:45, which has happened. So that should be like, hey, let's set you an appointment, or can you leave your car, or can you come back tomorrow and we'll get that knocked out as a waiter, stuff like that. So, or here's one that happens quite often is selling related services with each other, such as let's say a front differential when your vehicle is all-wheel drive or 4MATIC, and we'll get a repair order. And it'll say, perform rear differential service. Okay, cool. It says 4MATIC on the back of the car. It has the option codes for 4MATIC. And that's one of the things that the writer checks, or should check, when, when writing the vehicle up. they should be like, hey, it's Formatic, it's got a front differential also, I should sell that front diff service. Now again, I have to put in an estimate, or the technician has to put in an estimate. Hey, by the way, service advisor, this thing has a front differential also. And so now that estimate has to get put in, and if that doesn't get answered right away, if you're not a waiter, now I got to put the car outside, wait for that estimate to get it put in, get it declined or accepted, bring the car back in for that. It's a huge waste of time. So also transfer cases, if you have a Formatic, doing a transfer case service, it has that also. Again, service advisors should offer it, especially on our system. How we have a system set up to where we can see that all the services that the advisor recommended, and and then which of those services were declined. And then we can see, hey, it has a rear differential service. Was the front differential service or a transfer case service recommended? No, they weren't. Cool. Service advisors are not doing their job. And then one thing that this is just a bitching. I mean, it seems like I'm bitching at this point, but this is just a bitch with the advisors. Is the advisors calling the technician to see if a part's in order? So we're not parts advisors. We don't work in parts, or if a part's in stock. That's what I mean. So they'll call us, hey, is this part in stock? I'll always respond to them like, I think you meant to call parts, because I have no clue. So I'll send them like, hey, call parts, because I don't check parts availability besides calling parts. And then also writing up vehicles that are not warranty as warranty. Again, waste of time. Now we have to go back to the advisor and be like, hey, that's not warranty, especially when it's obviously not warranty. So a classic example, I got one that was written up as warranty. It was a left front headlight not working. Okay, written up as warranty. So I'm like, left front headlight, and right on the repair order it says there's a op code that says we can tell if it's warranty, if it's factory warranty, if it's CPO or ELW warranty, or if it's customer pay. It says right on the repair order, and they'll get a car in. It says left front headlight or left headlight not working. Check and advise. Okay, cool. And this has to go with the advisor not doing their job, because we do walkarounds of all the cars when the advisor checks them in. They take their phone, they do a video walkaround so we can get the condition of the vehicle, and we can say because a lot of times what happens is customer that will say, hey, now they'll come back and be like, hey, now my car's got a scratch, and it wasn't there before. Whereas we got the video walk around, we can go back to the video, be like, hey, we checked in your vehicle, here's your scratch right there, that was there. The writer wrote this up and wrote it up as headlight not working, did the video walk around, and didn't see the issue with the headlight. Now, it's not this extreme, but it was this obvious. Headlight not working. Cover obviously damaged, obviously broken. There was a large hole in the side of it, as well as damage to the fender. Writer didn't even see it. Just wrote it up, check and advise as warranty. So, again, waste of time, and it's stuff like that shouldn't happen. People just need to pay attention. Like I said, demand more from your service advisors. And or a lot of times what happens is we'll get the buttons on the center console. My buttons aren't working, or it's sticky. The power button for the radio is not working. For the command screen's not working. And you get in the car, and the button's either really difficult to push down, or it sticks when it's all the way down. It's like, well, yeah, something got spilled in there. It's not warranty, because right in front of those buttons, cup holders, and stuff gets spilled in those things all the time. That, and then here's something technically not the advisor's job, but they had the keys last when we were going to look at her car, and it's been an hour, 2 hours, and the keys are still not back where they should be for us to go work on the car. And the advisor's like, I don't know what's going on. I was like, well, you had the keys last. You want me to work on the car? Help me find your car for you so I can work on your car. And then one thing that's huge pet peeve of mine, that also, again, read over your repair orders after it's been written up, and then if there's any information that you've given the advisor that they did not put on the repair order on the concern line, please have them add that. Because when you get a concern where it's just, a few words and then check and advise, whereas, check engine light, check and advise, or the check engine light's not on, or this is not working, check and advise, stuff like that. I can't count the amount of times I've gone to the service advisor, like, hey, do you have any more information on this? And they'll be like, oh yeah, it happens this time, this time, this time. It happened then, it happened when it's cold, it happened as they were doing this, as they were doing that. It didn't happen this time. And they have this whole list, they have this whole paragraph of additional information that they didn't put on the repair order. And I'll take a paragraph over 3 words any day, because that gives me, okay, cool. Now I got a lot more information to go off of. It's going to be easier for me to duplicate that concern, especially when the concern isn't happening now. And it helps us fix your car a lot faster and a lot more accurately than 3 words that, okay, cool. That's it. Oh, it's all 3 words, check and advise. Like, this not working, check and advise. I hear this noise, check and advise. Okay, when do you hear that noise? Then the advisors have a whole list of questions that they can ask that helps them figure this out. And if it would make its way onto the repair order, it would make our lives and your life a lot more easier, especially when trying to diagnose the car correctly and possibly more accurately. Like I said, correctly, accurately, same shit. And then when they have that concern, writing in legible English or readable English. It's just read over the repair order. It is a legal document and you are signing it. So read the repair order, make sure it's something that you can understand, because if you can't understand it, then odds are we're going to have to translate that in our heads, translate advisor, and try to figure out what you're talking about when somebody can't write that down correctly. And it's like a game of telephone with somebody who's never taken high school English. It's really, really, really bad. And then here's one thing that's kind of bridging the gap between owner and technician is a lot of times it's I don't know if it's a unrealistic expectation of what the service advisor does and how involved that service advisor is in getting your vehicle repaired and getting your vehicle repaired the first time or correctly. I don't know what it is, but I see a lot of times, especially on warranty jobs, I've seen it where the writer, when you bring your car in for a warranty concern, the writer does nothing except write some stuff on a computer, print a repair order, bye-bye, okay, and then the technician gets it, the technician figures it out. The writer doesn't have to sell you anything. The writer doesn't have to talk you into repair. It's like, okay, hey, so-and-so, the technician found this is what it's going to be. It's going to be covered under warranty. You're going to need an engine. You're going to need a cylinder head. You're going to need this repair, or it can be even a small repair. But when it's warranty, the advisor literally does nothing except talk to you. The technician does everything else. And then a lot of time, I've seen it before, is especially around holidays, the technician will get a present or a gift from that customer. And so I saw one, it was pretty bad. It was like, okay, we did a really, really big repair. And, and I think it was something to where it was, because a lot of times there's a gray area where it's like, is it warranty? Is it not warranty? And if it's not obvious to where it's not warranty, if the customer messed this up or the guest did this and it caused this to happen. If we can't, there's no way for us to tell, yes, we're going to warranty your car or we're going to warranty your whatever repair it is. And then especially when it's thousands and thousands of dollars, and it's a lot of times it's up to the discretion of the technician. It's up to the discretion of the team leader. It's up to the discretion of the service director. It's not up to the discretion of the advisor whether your car is under warranty or not. And then we fix your car, and then the advisor gets a present. And it's like, well, it's like, and so I give the customers I give the advisors crap all the time. It's like, what did you do for that? Except take the customer's money or whatever. So it's like a lot of times we end up saving the customer money on a repair. Again, it's up to the technician. It's up to the team leader of the technician. whether, okay, let's take care of this. We'll take care of the customer. We'll do this. Hey, we're going to be in there right now. We're not going to charge any labor, even though there's a little bit of overlapping. We could charge labor if we wanted to, but we're just going to take care of it for you. Again, the advisor has nothing to do with that. That's up to the discretion of the technician and the team out there doing the repair. And then so the customer thinks that the advisor saved them all this money and the advisor helped them out all this much. Like, no, they didn't do anything to you except take your money. And so it's I just find it hilarious every time an advisor gets a present from someone. It's I get a chuckle out of it. And then writers calling us and asking for the status of a repair order. Now, at our dealership, we use a system to where you can, if you do your job, you can, or if an advisor does his job and he looks at his computer and he goes and he checks the status of a repair order, he can see right on his screen the status of that repair order. He doesn't have to call us and be like, what's the status of this repair order? Because my answer is always the same. It's like, well, I take it you didn't look at My Karma, which is the program we use. You didn't look at My Karma. You didn't watch the video. You didn't do this. It's like I answered all these questions in the videos that we have to do on these cars. Why are you asking me this question that you just watched the video? It's answered for you. Again, waste of time. Waste of my time, because then they call me asking what's on at this car, and I have to stop working on this car to answer their questions. And that could be your car that I have to stop working on to answer a service advisor's question because they can't, answer their own questions, basically. And then also, last thing that I have here that I want to say is writing up the repair orders, using the right words, or using more accurate words to the service advisor, because a lot of times they don't know. So when you say right or left, so to a technician, I don't know about it in any other brand, but Mercedes technicians, right and left is always the same. It doesn't matter how you're looking at the car. If you're looking at the car from the front, the left is always the driver's side. So if you're looking at the car, this is the left, the driver's side. The right side is the passenger side, even though this is my left hand, this is my right hand. So the right and left for Mercedes is how you're sitting in the vehicle, not how you're looking at the vehicle. So if you're sitting in it, the left is the driver's side. So, but what would help the miscommunication there is if you tell the driver or the advisor, hey, I have this noise coming from the driver's side of my vehicle or the passenger side, because that's never going to change. It'll always be the driver's side, always be the passenger side. So that'll, again, more accurate information. That helps us out, helps you out in the long run, because then you have all the information you need. And then we have all the information. We have accurate information, because it has happened where I've gotten a car written up for, oh, this is going on with the left rear of the vehicle, and the complaint's the right front. So it's, again, look over the repair order, make sure it's accurate information before you get up and leave. It's just stuff to help us fix your car properly and help it as quickly as possible. That'll help any kind of undue wasted time trying to fix your vehicle, especially if you're a waiter, because as soon as you get your car's written up, you go in the customer lounge and the service advisor moves on to the next customer. Now, when we have to come back for more information, we have to wait for the advisor to get done with the customer. Then they have to go talk to you in the lounge, and it's just all this back and forth that didn't need to happen. So that's just something that's it. So I think that's where I'm at with that. I'm sorry if this was all just a whole rant. I'm not sure how long this was, pissing and moaning about service advisors, but it's not really. It's I want to help owners get their car fixed properly the first time. That's why a lot of this isn't really heard from the customer, and they don't realize that these little things, they do these little things and make these little changes. They can help get their vehicle diagnosed properly, and then quickly, and it just helps the process along. Like I said, I don't know if there's a disconnect. I know there's a disconnect. It's called the service advisor, because again, it's like a game of telephone where you're talking to the technician through someone else, and they have to relay those messages. And a lot of times, those messages aren't correct. So I think that's pretty much all I have for this episode. Next episode will be a lot less pissing and moaning, a lot less complaining. stuff like that. And all of this is my opinion. This is all what I deal with on a daily basis with customers. I do have to go on road tests with customers, and a lot of times, again, here's something else. When we can't duplicate your concern, we have to go on a road test with the customer. More often than not, the customers will show us, okay, this is how I drive, this is what I'm doing, this is how I gotta, this is when it happens. And a lot of times I'll think in my head, I'm like, that's not at all what was written on the repair order. It's not what the service advisor said. So if you also, one thing to help speed up along, if you is going on a road test with the technician, and then they can be like, okay, show us. A lot of times they're like, show us, especially noises. Noises are a huge one. We're not going to, especially noises, and your car's under warranty, we're not going to dive into a rattle noise without you driving with us saying, okay, this is the specific noise I hear. You go over a bump, oh, you hear that rattle right there? That's what I'm talking about. Because we can fix this, like we'll get in a car, go on a drive, we could hear a noise, fix it, then the customer turns right back around, you guys didn't fix the noise. And it's like, well, we fixed the loudest noise we could hear. So to prevent that too, is you will have to point out, we'll have to point out to us, show us this is specifically what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this noise. I'm talking about when my car does this. This is what I'm talking about. Then a lot of times we can say, okay, that's normal. That's a normal noise, or that's normal behavior for this vehicle. So a lot of times a customer is just misunderstanding what their vehicle is supposed to be doing. Happens a lot on new cars, or like really, really low mileage cars. The customer they're not quite used to the driving characteristics of their vehicle. So that helps with going on a road test with the technician or the team leader. So the team leader can be like, okay, this is the noise that the customers or the guest is talking about. This is what we're going to pay attention to. So other than that, I hope if any of you Mercedes owners have. Hopefully you guys have, or you guys, girls, and anyone else in between have had gotten this useful information from this. Hopefully it helps. This also help. Doesn't have to be Mercedes. It can be any brand, any service advisor, any state, any city, any brand. This is true for all of the above, for any of those service advisors. And well, I think that's it. See you next time.